Hello and welcome to the Nerd Factor, a library podcast from the Madison County Public Library in Richmond, Berea, Kentucky.
I kind of feel like we haven't seen you in a while.
We really haven't.
Or talked to you.
Well, we've never seen them ever.
Since we don't see you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, occasionally I see some of our listeners, but that's not. But that's.
Are they sending you objectionable text message?
No, actually, they're loving it. They're loving it. They send me these text. It's my best friends, and they're like sending me messages like, "Oh, and by the way, tell Brandon that I too was also I too hated the Muppets because of Muppet Treasure Island. And why are we not best friends? And why have I not met these people?
Let's give that person a shout out. What's that? Who?
Katie Beth.
Hey, what's up, Katie Beth?
Sharp.
We need to get together and hold each other and tremble about the Muppets. Okay. Yeah.
That should be interesting.
I mean, I do it alone, so why not with a partner?
Apparently, Muppet Treasure Island just terrorized her. She had nightmares
about
the shrimp and other things. Like
I hold myself and tremble and rock back and forth, and I'm like,
the Swedish Chef.
It's okay.
Bork,
Swedish Chef.
bork,
He's not. He's
bork,
not.
bork, bork.
He's not at
Bork,
my
bork,
window.
bork.
He's not at my window. Meep, meep, meep. He's not at my window. See. So, hi, Katie Beth. What's up?
Well, good morning. I am April.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Cece.
And here we go. We've got all that out of the way.
That's right.
All right. Find us, before we forget at the end, find us on social media. We are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We'll be on Twitter by the end of the day because I'm writing it in my to-do list right now.
It's not on Instagram. It didn't happen.
Insta.
It's a real thing.
Instacast. Is that right? I don't know.
Instacast?
You know, I've had this thing happening a lot lately where I've been saying stuff like last night I was having a conversation with a friend on Facebook, and I said, if I could afford the product that he sells, if I could afford this product, then I would have you on speed dial. And then I was like, is that even a thing anymore? It's really
it's
not.
You used to be able to hold down one.
I mean,
favorites.
Favorites.
Favorites, I mean,
everybody's on speed dial. It's all in your phone.
Hey, you guys, here's my speed dial. Hey, Siri.
You're not plugged in.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
fail.
sad. That was real sad.
Fail.
Hey, Siri.
That's like when you're that's like when your granddad gets a phone and you're like, look what I can do, and it's
Look what I could do. I could send text.
So
I can make it. If I hit this button 4 times, it'll put an S in there.
Speaking of being
apparently that's my old man voice.
Speaking of being it's good. Being an old person on like modern new technology, I often call, you know how Instagram has a story now. They've totally stolen it from Snapchat.
And Facebook now has them, and
Facebook,
they're everywhere.
So you do a story or whatever. I call it, just in my regular lexicon throughout my general life, I call it my Insta story.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure every time I say that, I age 22 years. It's just a story. Stop saying
so
Insta.
So how old are you yet? Are you up to CC?
I'm at least Methuselah age.
Well, I say that though too.
Do you say Insta story?
Well, I say Insta whatever.
No, I think that's
funny.
cool. I think that's hit me up on Insta.
Hit me up on Insta.
That's exactly how I say it. I just say HMU.
Yeah, I think she's hipper than we are.
Yeah, no doubt.
No. Yeah. She's down with the hip lingo.
BRB. I hate when people say "I love you" in shorthand. ILY. I'm like, no. If you do that, you don't.
Here's the one I hate the worst. OMW. Do you know
on
why?
my way?
Oh,
do you know
I had
why?
to think about
Why?
it. No.
On your iPhone, it will autocorrect to the entire phrase "on my way!" !
What? Really?
Really?
On my way.
I'm doing it.
On my way.
It's so goofy.
I'm
It's
doing
like,
it.
here I come to save the day. That's what it sounds. That's what it makes me think of.
It
does.
did it.
You just tried it
For sure. Oh.
Wow.
There's this like super funny meme, and it's like when your phone corrects OMW to "on my way."
On my way.
It's like a photo of all these people in their cars with like the thumbs up and like this big goofy grin on their faces.
Okay.
So that's what I see.
We
got to
find it.
Oh, that's funny.
Look for it on our Insta story, everybody.
Yeah, we'll give you
Insta
ours.
Like, do we need a story on every single sort of platform?
That's a good question. I mean, for sure, there's like a. Yeah.
I don't even bother with it. I don't look at anybody's either. Occasionally, I look at them on Snapchat because that's
how I use it.
That's how I use it,
Yeah.
right?
Like I hardly ever send people direct snaps. You know,
Rare. Honestly, I I think I've taken one picture on Snapchat in the last month. Like I go on there because people send me things.
Yeah.
I go on there just to clear the notification.
Right.
And then I look at it, and then while I'm on there, okay, yeah, this person's story, I know they've got a bunch of stuff going on, so I want to see what they've got, what they have, and then I'll look at a few of them, and then I'm like out.
So Snapchat, can we talk about it for a second?
Yeah.
Sure. I had Snapchat for like a month when it first came out. I'm talking about like 2013. And I deleted it because I was like, this is just an app for like kids to send, again, objectionable material to one another without consequences.
100% what it's for.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
So this was years before a story.
Part of the
was
reason
a
I
thing.
still have my Snapchat is because my daughter has one.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
A good
I'm like,
okay.
what you putting out there?
Okay. But I mean, so the premise was it's going to send a picture that has a time limit on it, and people
Yeah.
can't save it, right?
Well, but they can screenshot it.
Yep.
But the good
But it
thing
does
is
tell you
you
if they
know
did.
if they do.
Oh, it
Yeah.
tells you if they do.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do
That's
you do?
embarrassing.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, even if they do screenshot it, it's not like you can say, "Hey, delete
Hey,
that."
delete
Right
that. And they're like,
on.
okay, I
or
did.
like make them,
and
you
then
know.
they
But
don't.
I would be
Yeah.
like the dude on Snapchat who didn't realize that the other person got a notification. And I'm like, like saving everybody's.
Snapchat snaps.
Oh, that's
Screenshot,
cool.
screenshot,
Barbara was
screenshot.
at the park earlier today. I'm gonna go ahead and I like that
Screenshot.
picture. And Barbara's like, you
That's creepy.
are the creepiest. Why did you want a picture of a bird from my from my Snap story?
Maybe it was a pretty bird. I don't know. Pretty bird.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
I do actually. I have screenshot some pictures that my friends have sent me because they're embarrassing awkward photos.
yeah.
And I'm like, blackmail. Snap,
Right.
screenshot.
sure. Okay, but then they know that you.
Yeah, but yeah, like he knows.
I feel like Snapchat missed us by like 10 years.
I think so,
Yeah,
too.
I'm a little old.
I
for
feel like
it.
the old person that's trying to
Yeah.
like Steve Buscemi in the hi there, fellow kids.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I feel like on
Me too.
Snapchat.
I know, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Isn't Snapchat though like the king of the face filter? Doesn't it have like the most? You know what I'm
It
talking about?
does.
Yeah, I do love the filters.
It'll,
They're
like,
fun.
But what's so
superimpose
funny
stuff.
though is like if you see someone using a Snapchat photo for other types of photos.
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
it's really obvious.
Right, no.
Yeah.
It's like on Facebook I see like people, for whatever reason it seems to be a big thing for moms and their kids or for people and their dogs. Because it'll put the filter over the dog's
Oh,
face
yeah.
too. And I'm like, that's just like a double dog.
Okay, guys.
You
You know
know
the famous bust behind me?
Yes,
in the
very
Yes.
office? So I think that you all haven't we
Oh.
done a video in here where the bust was on here?
Oh yeah.
Brandon
Yeah,
did
yeah,
one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We need
please,
to do Snapchat
if you
filters
need-
on that thing.
just wait.
Oh boy.
So if you all want to see what I'm talking about, if you go to Brandon's video that gave a tour of my office.
Right,
Uh-huh.
right.
So I have this bust in here, and someone gave it to us. It's like, a local artist. I think it's someone's child.
Okay.
It's very beautiful.
Yes,
It
it's
is.
very,
It
very
is.
awesome.
It's
beautiful.
very well done.
I'm also terrified of it
Mhm.
because I'm
And it's
convinced
behind
that
you the whole time
she,
you're working.
Right. Right.
I always feel like she's peering over my shoulder,
For sure.
judging me in some way.
For sure.
So, anyway, so I was sending a Snapchat to a friend one day, and I was sitting at my desk, and my desk again is directly in
I'm
front
already
of the
laughing.
bust,
Yep.
kind of off to the
Yep.
to the left. So
I can't.
I start,
It's creepy.
lining up the
It's creepy.
facial photo, right? The facial filter thing, and it picks up the bust.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I don't.
So there's a photo, and I'll put it on our Facebook page.
You so should.
I'm,
Of,
I'm taking notes. I'm
Please,
taking
yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
Of me and the bust in several of the Snapchat facial
I've
filters.
seen some
That's
of these. They are funny.
The best one, I think she has dog ears in one of them,
That's great.
and then I think we did one with like the hearts.
That's
you know?
great. That's great.
But yeah, I was crying laughing.
Ingrid Michaelson did a whole music video, and it's just it's her singing her song. The song is called Hell No. It's a great song, and it's just her in various Snapchat only, like no other. Instagram has facial. It's all Snapchat. It's like a love letter to Snapchat filters, and it's really funny.
That is fun.
Did
It's
she do the
awesome.
ones with the voice alterations too?
No,
Oh, because that would just be so
well,
much fun.
So I'm sure she had, because some of them, like I know, there's like a little mouse and it makes your voice like this. Like
or the one that's like really big mouth,
Right,
and you're like
so
your nose is gone.
she's-
You look like a brat.
she's doing
doll.
all of those, but it's just the regular, the normal
Ah.
song track.
My favorite one is the old man. I Katie did one of me that face, and I went, "Get off of my lawn, you kids!" And
Right.
I was like, "Oh my god."
Okay.
That's
like,
me
so
anyway.
creepy.
I don't need a
Okay.
Snapchat
Yeah,
filter
I
for
know,
that.
right? Yeah, good.
I'm trying to find those.
My daughter will do Snapchat filters, and for some reason, the shape of her nose it picks it up as eyes.
Okay.
So
That's hilarious.
She'll end up with a Snapchat filter on like just that portion of her face, and so it'll zoom in on her nose, and it is hilarious.
That
She
makes
was
my
like,
day.
why? So she'll post pictures in her story of the filters on her nose, just going, why?
That's funny.
It is really funny.
It's really cool technology. I mean, it's augmented reality is what it is. It's really cool technology. I like that a lot.
The filters are fun to play with, but that's
Yeah.
about all I do with it is I go on there and like I clear the notification, I check out what my kids are doing,
Right.
and then like I look at some of the stories, and then
Right.
occasionally if there's a fun filter that I like,
Right.
then I'll take a picture and post it or whatever.
Right.
Tom has on his phone background, it's a picture of from Snapchat of me, and
Nice.
it's like I'm like, that is the best picture of me I have ever taken.
Right on.
I need that frame.
Right on. Many people have tried to convince me, like, you need to Snapchat. It's so much fun.
It
I'm
is
like, I
fun.
It is. It is
you know,
fun.
Is it? Oh,
It's also-
geez, you guys.
Are y'all ready to see this?
Oh,
Yes,
you got
please.
them? Okay, sweet. Already.
But do you see how she's peering over my shoulder?
Cece, that's messed up. I can only look at it for a second. Like, it's creepy.
I know.
It's creepy.
I can't even.
Can I see it again?
Oh my God.
Oh, you guys.
That is so going
Listeners,
on today's
please
Snap-
check out our Insta page. You know
Instagram.
who you look like there? You look like Terry Rouse for some reason with that
Really?
filter on
Because
your
it's
the
the
face.
glasses.
frames.
Yeah, it's the frames.
Oh, no, I can't anymore. And it's
That
like,
is
No,
great.
but she is like looking, like she even
Yeah, it looks like she's like
she
craning
even
her
looks
neck
like
to look.
she is craning her neck.
Yeah,
That's
it looks like
not-
she's craning her neck to
It
look over your shoulder.
really creeped me
she's
out.
like Vigo
That
the
is really-
painting from Ghostbusters 2.
Don't
Like,
even
just
listen.
turning a little bit.
Listen.
Or
I
the
saw that when I was
statues.
too young.
Okay.
And to
okay.
this day, it
Okay.
sticks to me.
I
Or it sticks
Oh
to
my
me.
God.
On a throne of blood. And
We just
I
watched
like,
it over the weekend,
I
too.
love Ghostbusters 2. It's like I think I like it better than Ghostbusters 1, at least in
I
some
don't-
ways.
I don't remember the difference between the two.
It's awesome.
Well, one is the
It's the
Stay
classic.
Puft.
Is
Stay
that
Puft,
the
that's right.
classic?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
ghosts are taking over, and
Yeah,
there's-
yeah.
Okay.
It's the Stay Puft
And the
Marshmallow
second
Man.
one
Two is the
is
gigantic painting.
oh,
that
okay. See,
takes
I get
the
those two
baby.
confused.
Right.
I'm like, it's all one big movie in my
Right.
mind, like
Right.
Ghostbusters 1 and 2.
Stay
I
sharp.
don't, and in
There are
3, I
common
don't even
things.
See fit,
remember.
make good decisions. Rick Moranis, where are you? Rick Moranis, if you're listening to this
retired
podcast
from
right now,
from
don't care.
acting.
He's doing probably good things. He's probably like
He's
a
the
dad
lead singer of
and being a
Bleachers.
great. Is he really?
No.
I don't know.
He just looks so much like
actually,
Jack Antonoff.
Okay.
Like, they could be twins.
Okay.
he retired from acting because his wife got cancer and was very, very sick.
Why am I
Aw.
such a
And
horrible human?
so
I didn't
he
realize that.
actually
Brandon.
retired from acting so that he could take care of his kids and raise his family.
Rick Moranis,
so
I'm
selfish,
sorry
And
for
they
that
check
selfish.
in on him every
You're
now
so
and then.
selfish.
Sorry about that selfish comment. I didn't
I mean,
realize.
no, I completely want him to come back to
in my
acting too
defense.
now.
Yeah.
I'm like, your kids are raised, right? They're grown.
we-
They don't need you anymore.
We wish you and your family nothing but the best and hope that goes into remission. And the day it does.
She passed away.
Oh, stop. it.
Brandon.
Oh,
I'm okay. Moving on.
Like,
I'm a
it was-
monster.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I love
Well,
and respect.
that's our episode for
I
the
love
day.
and
Yeah,
respect
it's
Rick
like-
Moranis as
and
an
another,
actor.
and yet another episode where Brandon knows nothing.
Brandon ruins everything by knowing nothing. Is the name of this episode for sure. Sorry, Rick Moranis. I just love you, man.
Oh, but I do love Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I
Oh,
do
dude,
too.
Some of my
right,
favorite
totally.
movies when I
The
was a kid.
ant, and
It's great.
I love it.
For sure.
He always looks so just like bewildered.
Suddenly
I
Seymour,
know.
baby.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
he is Seymour Krelborn. Like, I don't, whoever else has ever played.
Suddenly
Right.
Seymour
Right.
is standing beside me.
Anyway.
Yes, I feel really bad about all this, so
You should.
yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we should. That was all prelude. So I guess now we need to start talking about our topics. You want to go first this time, or should
Sure.
we do
Yay.
something else?
I'll go first.
What
'Cause
you
know
got?
mine is
What you
always
got?
the fun topic.
Oh, yay! She's so fun this week. Okay, what do you got?
No, this is like my least fun I've ever been.
I don't
my
know,
God.
man. That's gonna be hard.
I know. I know.
Just teasing. I give you guys
When
a
you
hard
set the
time.
bar
Like I
low.
definitely can't go first because I'm still waiting to hear what you guys are going to come up with to decide on which one I'm going.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
thinking.
Oh,
This
you
is
have like a
like-
I've got a
rotating
couple.
topic?
Well,
Organic.
remember? Okay,
Yeah.
so I was going to talk about Stranger Things this week. Well, Brandon was, but then Brandon told me that he was going to, so I was like, okay, I'll find something else.
Listen,
And then he
you
didn't
can
do it.
You can don't change your plans for me.
No, it's
because
okay. I got a couple
it's
other
not
things.
gonna ruin my life.
I was gonna spoil it and then rant.
And see, I was
Do
going
it.
to spoil it and then
Do
counter
it.
your rant because I know what your rant is.
So my plan.
I'm cool with doing a point counterpoint.
Okay.
Okay. I can. April, why don't you do your Stranger Things thing?
Okay.
Do your Stranger Thing.
Well, let's just have a
thing.
let's just have a conversation about it. Well, rather than it be just being me going like, I loved it and it was awesome and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun episode.
That'll be a very fun episode.
It
And
was good. It was awful.
yeah.
Then we have a
I don't
fight.
have
And then
a.
we have a fight.
opinion.
April and I have
scrapping.
a fist fight in the middle
we
of
need some of
Cece's
those
office.
sound effects box from the theater where you like just dump them over to simulate things crashing
Yes,
and
good,
breaking.
perfect.
That's what we need.
Some stock
need a
crowd.
Foley
So
artist.
you know
Oh.
what? So we always talk
We
about
need a
how
Foley artist.
we don't discuss before we record
Mhm.
this
Right.
what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
Right.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we just talk about it?
Here it goes.
Okay.
Because I have a fallback discussion that I can use
Okay.
that is along this theme.
Okay.
All right.
You don't feel stepped on though. You had a topic. Okay.
I'm
You good? Okay.
Yeah.
All
we go.
right. So, spoiler alert.
Oh,
You
wow,
have not
Spoilers
finished Stranger
ahead.
Things unless you're me, because
Unless you're Cece.
Right.
But she's already
Um,
consented, so it's
just-
okay.
Don't
Hey,
listen.
is it possible for us? And now this is very spur of the moment, so I have a question, kind of for you, Mark. Is it possible for us to once the podcast is over and recorded, for us to insert into the podcast at this moment right now? Go to 18 minutes and 32 seconds. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
If you,
yeah, yeah.
If you don't want, and
yeah.
it should be Mark's voice saying
Yes, because you don't talk.
the minute marker where we
We're done
stop
with this?
talking about.
It's going to
this.
be like minute 57.
Let's go to minute 57. Like right now. Okay, so instead of me doing that, Mark's going to do that later on. So
Yeah, we'll do that later.
spoilers, here they come.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Mark Green. If you don't want to be spoiled for Stranger Things, flip over to 46 minutes, and that's where we'll go back to not spoiling it. But if you want to be spoiled, it's some great stuff.
So, if you have not
many spoilers.
finished season 2 of Stranger Things and you care about spoilers, just stop listening right now. We'll tell you when to skip forward to when we know.
Everybody dies at the end anyway.
Don't!
I was hoping
Or
that
do
did.
they?
Or
All right, spoiler alerts. Here we go. All right. So, Brandon, I know that you were not a fan of season 2.
I'm such a.
I am still a fan.
Cynic.
There are, of course, things that I did not like. The episode that you are on right now, Cece, episode
Season- or
7,
Episode 7. Yeah.
is the well-known,
oh yeah.
most
the-
hated
the
episode.
Apparently
diversionary
so,
episode,
because
yeah.
everything
have you
I've seen
finished
about it.
episode 7, or are you
No,
just
I-
getting ready to
We were
start
getting
it?
ready to start it, and
Oh.
I was like, I cannot stay awake anymore.
I didn't
Ah.
hate. I didn't hate episode 7.
I didn't hate it either. It felt. Have you guys seen Lost?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
All right. In Lost, there is an episode in one of the seasons, I think it's like season 2 or 3, where there's an episode that's just about the character of Jack and his tattoos. And
Yeah,
it
I've heard
has
of this
no
episode.
bearing
Yeah.
on the story or what's going on. So like there's all of this stuff that's going on the island and these characters and what is going on, and then all of a sudden in the middle of all of that, you have an episode about Jack's tattoos
Okay. Yep.
that has no bearing on anything.
The smoke monster did it.
That is episode 7 for me.
So-
Even though it did have actual
Hmm.
No, I haven't seen episode 7 yet.
Right.
But I have theory.
okay.
Oh boy.
So I don't know what the Netflix business model is in terms of buying shows,
Okay.
Mm.
because some companies, I don't know, they'll
Production
buy,
companies.
Sure, they'll buy so many episodes of a show.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
So they'll be able to split it up into a couple seasons. They'll be able to, maybe think past season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, of the several shows, I guess, that I've watched that are Netflix shows,
Right.
season 1 has been incredible, just
Yeah.
like awesome. I'm thinking of Orange is the New Black.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
Season 1.
That
of Orange
was
is
an
the- yeah.
incredible.
Super
It was,
strong.
oh my God, so
Season
good.
It
one
has
of-
gotten progressively worse.
Yes.
Since
Okay.
then.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm just wondering if they get all of their bearings for one really awesome season, they get picked up,
Mhm.
and then they don't know what to do after that.
Mm.
I think it all depends on who's spearheading the project.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, whoever
I mean,
is
Genji Cohen is the Orange is the New Black
Mhm.
creator,
Right.
writer, and she did Weeds, and Weeds was
Oh.
You know,
awesome
I've still
show.
not watched Weeds.
Weeds
I've
is
watched.
great.
I've seen
Yeah,
like
Weeds
I've
is
seen like
great.
clips
Sure.
of one episode, but
Mary
that's
Louise
it.
Parker.
But
Pitter
that's what
Patter,
a
Pitter Patter.
Showtime.
I
That's
do
a
love
Showtime.
Showtime, yeah,
series.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure,
on
right.
Netflix. I can watch it. I just
Yeah.
haven't.
It's good.
So
That's
I'm
good.
just wondering if they promise a season and then
I think
They'll
that's a
see
part
what
of it,
happens.
CC. Honestly,
Yeah,
I really feel like
I would say that generally, I don't know about Netflix in particular, but I know most companies, they'll say one season and then see what happens and see how it's received and then go from there. They
Yeah.
might buy into more than that, but most of them are going to, because I mean, there's some shows that get canceled midway through their
Right.
first season.
Sure,
Right.
right. Well, and that doesn't,
And that's the good thing with Netflix is they release it all at once.
that doesn't
Mhm.
happen on Netflix. Do you guys know that Netflix doesn't release publicly its ratings?
We've talked about it.
I thought we
Yeah,
had. I thought we
yeah.
had. I looked up this article, and here's why. Because they don't matter. The company makes money off its perceived popularity,
True.
not its viewer base.
Man,
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that changes the game.
it does.
It really
Doesn't that
does.
totally, because now instead of like we have to make, and I mean there are the various ins and outs of it, but now instead of we have to make good quality stuff that people are going to come back to and come back to and come back to, now it's more like we can make Fuller House season 3.
Well,
which
True.
Well, but I would say ratings kind of create that anyway, like the rating system.
Sure.
Right.
Like everybody wanted to have that show that people would discuss the next morning at the water
Sure,
cooler.
fine.
Yeah,
Totally,
yeah.
Totally.
And I think that was
They wanted to take a little bit of it back from Game of Thrones kind of thing.
right,
Mm.
and I think that was a bit of like a perceived popularity
well,
thing
that's
too.
always been
you
in
know?
play, for sure, yeah. Yeah, but now it seems like it's like, I don't know, with this new model, it seems magnified or I don't know, easily taken advantage of, I think is what I'm, because with the, and this is where
Mhm.
I am with Stranger Things.
Okay.
It's so season 1, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was done. Here's why I think it was so popular. Because it was done with integrity. It was done with love. It wasn't just, hey, everybody, I'm Mr. DNA. Don't you remember me from Jurassic Park in 1993? Give me some money, everybody. Here comes the T-Rex. You love the T-Rex, don't you? 1993.
Stop hating on my Jurassic World.
It's your favorite song. It's your favorite song. Just admit it.
He's
you
playing
know
an imaginary
it
violin,
is.
guys.
It's your favorite
Not the world's
song.
smallest though.
But not the smallest. Yeah, it's just like up, head is tilted,
Yeah.
arm is out. He's
Right.
like got a pretend bow.
It's
Yeah.
nostalgia. Come on and eat it with
Season
your face.
2, 100%.
Yes.
Nostalgia all the way.
Yes.
So season 1 was done with love because they loved the 80s and Stephen King and 80s classic horror movies, etc. Season 2, I didn't hate it. We're talking about Stranger
Right,
Things. And I didn't
right.
hate it. I love some of the there's that integrity is still kind of present, but now it has this flavor of for me.
Okay, I'm hearing you out.
Thank you,
I'm
thank
waiting.
you.
I'm
I
hearing you
appreciate
out.
it. I appreciate it. It has this flavor of we're a franchise now. We're a franchise now. We don't give a crap.
No, I 100% agree
right?
with you.
We're setting you up
And again,
for
I haven't
season
finished it.
3.
Well, I mean, and that's kind,
You
but that's
know?
kind of the thing. I'm giving it some time on that, and I'm giving it a pass on that because
Sure.
middle books, and they don't know what they're doing with season 3 yet. They haven't. They're still working on it.
Okay.
Have you watched Beyond Stranger Things?
No, but I want to.
It's really good. I
finished
finished watching it all yesterday.
Nice.
And so they gave you a lot of insight
Okay.
into their process. And like when they were writing it, they had the concept. And the concept was, what if Steven Spielberg directed a Stephen King novel?
That's okay. So I love
So
that vision. I love that
that's
vision.
the idea. That's where they
cool.
started. And they were still creating, they had character placeholders for these characters. So they had Dustin. They knew that Dustin was going to be this nerdy character.
Mm.
Then Gaten, I have no idea how you say his last name. 'Cause it goes,
Matarazzo.
yeah,
can't
I don't
do it.
remember how you say it, so I'm not gonna.
Like I
But
did.
so they saw his audition, and he was the first one cast.
Oh,
They knew that they wanted him as Dustin
nice.
before they had any script or anything.
He's got some charisma though.
He
does.
does.
got
All
some,
of those kids do,
They
and
do,
all of the
yeah.
actors really.
And
on
I
this
love
show.
his mom. His mom
Oh
is
my
so
God.
cracks me
The
up.
relationship between the two of them
I know.
is just precious.
Does she remind you of Barbara in any way?
On Teen
Just a little
Mom.
bit. She's got a little bit of Barbara.
Maybe a
in her.
little bit more
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah,
than
which for
Barbara.
sure. Yeah.
Oh my God,
What's the
So-
cat's name? Mew Mew.
Muse.
Mr. Muse.
Bless its
She-
heart.
Mr. Muse. She calls him Mew Mew.
With
And
that
then-
with that scene, I was like, I could have gone my whole life without seeing that.
Seeing that,
Yeah,
oh
no doubt,
God,
For sure.
That was a little too much.
episode 7. What was the last thing that you saw? Like what? How did episode 6 end? I don't remember.
I don't remember actually.
Everybody does. Episode
Okay.
6.
Well,
Dozing.
here I am trying to not give you any spoilers, but
No, dude,
we've already
we're-
done it.
I guess
way
Is
past
Bob
that.
still alive?
Oh yeah, it was Bob
Yeah.
died. No, not
Yeah.
Rudy.
Yeah,
Rudy dies.
I told you there's spoilers.
Mr. Frodo.
And it's like, it is awful.
I
It's
almost
so
said a bad word for the
awful.
first
Sam-
time.
Sam-
on this pack- on
Samwise
this
doesn't
podcast.
make it, dude. Yeah.
It is so awful.
Yeah.
So awful.
All of
He's
that
just
elven bread.
so dumb and
gets-
sweet.
Okay.
I know.
So, but here's my
Let's
qualm.
talk about Bob.
Let's
The
talk
problem
about
with Bob.
what about the problem.
What
with
What about Bob?
You're right. The
I'm
problem.
sailing.
Thank you. The
Dr.
problem
Marvin.
about
Dr.
Bob-
Leo Marvin.
Problem
Sorry.
about Bob, no.
Favorite
It's
movie.
perfect. Is that he was a device.
Mm-hmm.
He was a placeholder.
He
in
was
season
he was
two.
he was season 2's Barb.
He was a love interest,
Aw,
right?
You're right.
Right.
Justice for Bob.
Justice for Bob, right? Well, but
I'm
he was
so
also
depressed now.
he was a
Yeah.
love interest for Winona Ryder's character,
Right.
and her name is
Joyce.
Joyce. Because next season, of course, she and Hopper are going to be a thing.
God, I hope so.
No,
Jop-
See?
hashtag
come
Jopper.
on, of course.
I thought that he was their dad.
Well,
Like,
Oh,
I don't know why I thought that.
but
Interesting.
Lonnie is their dad and is in season
See,
1.
I hardly pay attention to things. I need to,
Ah.
like, I have to watch something twice.
you
to
even know the
really-
buyer's dad, though. That's something, April.
Dude, I'm
Yeah,
obsessed.
That's
Yeah.
something. You
Like
are.
this
yeah.
is like I've seen it 3 times.
You
Seen season
yourself
1 3 times.
Are a stranger
Like,
thing.
we were sitting there
am.
watching it.
Yeah.
I guess it was when Hopper was in the Upside Down.
Yeah.
And they go, like, looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, isn't that their dad? And Brooke was like, no.
How did you? At what point did you decide that?
That's what she was like. Where did you get that? I'm like, I don't know. He cares a lot about him. She's like, sure, but like,
like-
he's not their dad.
Yeah. Well, Hopper and Joyce have history together. They do. I don't think they ever dated, but they were they
Right.
were
Like
friends
that
in high
scene
school.
when they're talking at the
And
kitchen
they used to,
table.
yeah.
And you'll really just like knowing, and then like they talk about this memory that they have from high school
Right.
of them being out behind the gym,
Smoking
getting caught smoking
cigarettes.
cigarettes
Right.
and everything. And there's a scene at the end that's a callback to that,
Gotcha. Okay.
and it
Right.
is so sweet.
You know what?
Gotcha.
Cigarettes. So again, I feel so I understand. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit torn because you got to have a story, right?
Right.
And I'm all about good storytelling, and I don't think that season 2 of Stranger Things had poor storytelling, but I feel set up.
It's a middle piece.
Let's talk about it. Is a middle piece. Let's talk about another way I feel set up. The Jonathan, Nancy, Steve love triangle, right? We all hated Steve about this time 2 years
no,
ago.
but Joe Carey is
Now
so
we
just
love
charming
sweet
and adorable.
little doe-eyed Steve in his hair because he does. So
And his Negan bat.
right,
Yes,
bad,
yes.
totally. Because so I actually feel like Nancy. I feel like this is maybe not to kind of call back to a previous discussion we've had here on the podcast. I don't think it's a good feminist move on the part of the Duffer Brothers and team because Nancy is just an object at this point in time for who's she gonna be with? Is she gonna be with Steve? Is she gonna be with Jonathan? Is
Well,
she gonna be with
Nancy,
Steve?
I mean, Nancy, I had problems with her character last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Did you?
I feel
Yep.
like, I don't know. You know all those stupid memes? They're like, in a world of Kardashians, be a Lucy.
Right.
Which
right.
I have problems with anyway.
Sure.
But, like, there was also memes in a world of Nancy's be a Barb.
Okay.
You
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah,
So
I
I
saw
feel
that, yeah.
like there was problems with her last year. And I think maybe they were trying to make her a more compassionate person
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
I feel that way too.
They actually talk about that a little bit in
Do they?
Beyond Stranger Things. They
Mhm.
talk about how, like, seriously, Nancy was the stereotypical teenage popular girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve
The me,
was
me,
the
me.
stereotypical
Yeah.
king of the high school sports jock, #1 guy in the high school.
Right.
You know,
Which is funny because he weighs approximately 112 pounds.
Right,
Soaking
right.
wet with his pockets full of pennies.
King Steve.
Right.
And then you've got the boys that are the stereotypical nerds. And so then what happened as season 1 progressed, they got to know these characters and the story because they were still writing later episodes as they were filming the earlier ones.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Season 1?
Season and 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
they apparently only gave the actors like 1 episode at a time. So they didn't know
Oh.
what was going to happen to their character in the next episode.
Okay, I didn't realize. That's not a traditional
And so,
model.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's really not. And so what they were doing is for season 2, by the end of season 1, they knew these characters and they knew more about, and so they're writing for these actors and these characters. And so they're making decisions about how, they know where they want to go with it. They're like, at this, in, the final chapter of season 2 is called Snowball.
Right.
And so they end at the snowball dance that they're talking about in
Yeah,
season 1.
the dance that will.
And
yeah,
so
Mike
it
wants
ends.
to
It
take
ends.
11
It
too.
ends really, really nicely.
Yeah.
But so they know that they're going to get there, and so So the character's evolution throughout this is now being based off of what they've done with the characters in the past, and so they're writing for the characters now. And
So I can dig that. I can dig that.
So like the partnership between Dustin and Steve was not planned until after season 1 was over, and maybe 2 episodes in.
I feel like that model.
That's when they were like, let's see what this looks like. They knew they wanted Hopper and 11 together, but they didn't know like this other partnership. And so they're talking about other team ups and things like that in upcoming seasons. So
you had to get Steve on his own first.
Yeah, you did. And what I would really like to see for Nancy is for her, like, so her story arc is continuing. So she's developing as more as a person, and so she's becoming more independent, and so she and Steve break up in season 2, and so now she is with Jonathan, and there is an attraction, but it's also, I think the good thing with Jonathan is he helps. I don't know if he necessarily directly encourages her independence from anything, and he's not. I don't think he even knows what they're doing, but I feel like they're friends, but more than they are anything.
I appreciate the story. I really do.
Kind of back to what you were saying, that it was a bad move on their part,
right?
Feminist-wise.
I
so
feel
there's
that
a couple
way.
things that I'm feeling about that.
Yeah.
So first, I get what you're saying,
right?
Because I do think that there's a tropey thing where you humanize someone like that, with a relationship.
Right. I'm worried. Just to say, I'm worried that they're turning her into the love interest and not much more. Do you see what I mean?
Well, but and
I
they
think
do
by the
that,
end that they don't,
and they do that to make her a more likable character.
Okay,
right?
Sure.
But I think that the way that they couched it, which was she was so torn up over Barb,
yeah, for sure. That's
and
right.
she is
that's
having some like post-traumatic
big
issues
big
with
time.
that.
Yeah, big time.
And I mean, it may not have hit her in season 1,
right?
But in 2, you're definitely seeing her go through a lot of pain and struggle.
For sure. Especially in the early episodes.
And,
big
and
time.
Steve was there for that.
Right.
So her person to blame right now is Steve.
Okay.
Right. Not to blame, but her person to be like, why aren't you feeling the way I'm feeling? Because you're working on this too.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very common response.
Okay. I can appreciate that. That makes sense.
For someone of any gender to kind of, like, a relationship falls apart because of a terrible thing that happens.
Actually, yeah.
Right, sure, for sure.
So it made sense to me
I can appreciate
that would kind of fall apart, and she would be more drawn to someone who was more...
Sure.
Well, and Jonathan saw her through. They experienced a lot together in season 1.
Right.
And that's going to bring them together, and especially because they're going back into all of that in season 2.
Well, as the reporter guy says, you get the shared trauma. I can't remember his name.
But that's exactly right. Shared trauma. Yeah. She and Steve have shared trauma, but Steve is not reacting to it in a way that she thinks is appropriate.
Steve just wants to move on.
Right.
Yeah, Steve just wants to move on, and she can't. And so her driving need in season 2 is to get justice for Barb.
Okay. Well, if there's too much of the
justice for Barb
and
now
Bob.
And Bob.
I can't even talk about
Sorry.
it.
Oh,
I loved when he walked into their house with like the board games.
I know.
And they had made the big
the map
drawing of the monster. And he's like,
Welcome. Welcome to your new life, Bob.
And he's like, oh.
It's only going to last about 2 episodes.
It was just so cute.
What and then the reference to Goonies with the X in the middle. What's at the X? Buried treasure.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite reference in season 2, I must say to you guys, is it's a middle season episode 5 or 6. It's when the soldiers at the Hawkins lab are down in the Upside Down, and they're going after the demo dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. One of them says to the other, "Stay frosty."
Oh.
Listeners, I missed that completely.
Listeners, I'm just going to give you a second. Stay frosty. I'm going to say one more thing to you, listeners. Look into my eye. That's Sergeant Apone from James Cameron's masterpiece Aliens, right? So, and Stay Frosty is a direct quote from...
Well, and Paul Reiser's from Aliens.
Absolutely, I know,
so
right?
That's perfect.
Yeah, super cool.
I
was expecting him to be a bad guy.
Yeah. I had no idea that was him.
Yeah, well, I mean, we told people, spoiler alert.
Right, yeah.
Well, and here's the thing with Bob. Okay, with Bob, did you guys feel like it was setting him up to possibly be a bad guy at the beginning?
Yes,
Bob?
I assumed he was going to be.
I was like, is he a plant from Hawkins' lab? What is going on?
Maybe,
is he
was too
He's too nice.
yeah.
No one
So-
is this
so
nice.
Right.
see, I would have a lot
Except
more.
Rudy. You've seen Rudy, right?
For sure.
I
Rudy
actually
is
have
nicer
not.
than Bob.
I actually
Go
have
watch
not.
Rudy right now.
But
a lot nicer
okay, I
than
have
Bob.
homework
That's our
now.
show for the day. April has to go watch the
So if there was that kind of
1990
twist,
sports
Right.
film.
if there was,
Rudy.
if he was a plant, or if he was something other than a speed bump that Joyce has to get over on her way to Hopper in season 3, I would
Right.
be happier. Sorry, I'm so hard to please, you guys. I'm-
Well, so
I'm just
why-
imagining poor Bob as a speed bump. Well, he kind of is now.
So why do you think he was there? Like, what's the point of Bob?
Because we got to have a season 2, man.
'Cause you have to have a
And-
hero.
and you got
Every season has to have
you
a
gotta.
hero.
It's going to be
Okay.
so sweet when
and
Joyce
he,
and
and
Hop
he
finally
actually
kiss.
was like, he actually was telling the Duffer Brothers, he was like, and apparently he said it a lot, that he says, I don't care how long, and these are his words from Beyond Stranger Things. They did an interview with all of the lots of different cast members, and so he actually sent something in, and he said that I don't care how long Bob lasts, but let him be a hero.
Okay.
Let him be a hero, and he is. In the end,
yeah,
he
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I'm sorry. Tune out if you don't want to hear this, Cece. This is all about his death. But I'm sorry. If you're running from Demodogs, don't stop and look back. Get
Oh,
out.
he
get
looks
out
back?
He stops and looks back at
Come
the
on,
door.
dude.
And Joyce is they're in the lobby of Hawkins' lab. The door is right there.
Do you even watch horror films, bruh?
I know.
The door is right there. He gets away from the Demodogs,
It's like
shuts the door,
The
turns
number one
around,
way to die.
Bro.
sees her, starts smiling, and is like, "Hey, how you doing?" or "Hey," or something. And then the dogs bust the door
Oh my
down
God.
and like eat him.
That is like for real every horror movie trope.
I think
in
the
world.
number one.
Yeah.
The one
I
thing
was
he
like, the
didn't do
door-
is say, "I'll be right back."
Yeah, right.
Or did he?
Good.
Did he say that?
No.
Okay.
I don't
think
think
so.
he did. I think he said, "Don't wait for me."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Still.
maybe they made that a thing.
Yeah.
He left his gun on the table, and I was like,
Oh my
Bob.
god! I was like, "Of course he's gonna
Why,
leave the gun
Bob?
on
So
the
he
table."
went out unarmed.
Of course.
Well, he went out armed, but then he went out to go turn the power back on.
Jurassic Park, Mr.
And-
Hammond.
I
the
was
phones are
so
working.
hoping that it would be a Jurassic Park moment where like somebody's hand would fall down on him
Right.
or something like that. I was really hopeful. I was like, okay, now the Demodog like jumps from the sky, jumps from the ceiling, or somebody's arm falls or something, and nothing happened. I was actually really disappointed in that moment. It was a
Now,
missed
Now,
opportunity.
what's the episode that this occurs in?
Second to last, maybe.
Okay.
I think
Eight.
So I have a little ways to
it's
go.
8.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8?
Yeah.
It's 8.
2 way.
It's not 11s.
Yeah.
Can we talk for a second about Millie Bobby Brown? She's
Yes.
amazing.
Oh man,
She's
Her
amazing.
storyline is
She's
saving it for me.
nuanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pulled back, and she's not too like kid actors. I find sometimes like really go a little bit over the top with it, just because it seems natural that they would. Millie Bobby Brown
Yes.
has the chops, in my opinion, of like a classically trained, like mature actress.
Yeah.
All of these kids do.
Sure.
They all do. I mean, some of their characters are more over the top. Obviously, Dustin.
Right.
Than
But he's
others.
supposed to
but
be.
but yeah, he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's who he is. That's how they're letting. That's how he's portraying this character, and that's how they wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
And but you're absolutely right. But all of these kids are just crazy talented.
Yeah.
Just
The-
insanely talented.
The story with her mom.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just
Yes.
like captivated
for sure
the
yeah.
whole time.
That was
Yes.
I was into that for sure. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like in season 3. So in this season we've met number 8, right?
Yep.
That's the what's her name? Kali is her sister,
Kali,
and
yeah.
she's number 8. This is
Oh, see, I
you'll
haven't met
see
her
this,
yet.
Yeah.
You
Well,
will.
she's at
You
the
will.
very,
in-
very
you
beginning
did.
of
That's in
episode
season
1.
7 or episode 7.
That's
right?
in episode 7
Yeah.
that you're getting ready
'Cause
to
I've
watch.
read
But you
the-
did meet her at the very, very beginning when they're in the van and they're driving,
Yeah.
and then she does like the hand thing and goes boom,
it's the prologue.
and
to
then
episode
the
one.
thing falls down,
okay,
and you see the
alright.
She's
tattoo on
another
her arm.
11.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
yeah,
that is.
yeah.
I was like, so
Right.
okay,
Gotcha.
there's something going to happen with, but that's Kali.
I mean, I'm hoping that there are like a lot more of them that we find over
Huh.
time, and then they all like kind of come together, and they're like, with
Well,
our
I
powers
mean,
combined.
Yeah.
You know.
Jane, 11 is
Right.
number 11,
Right.
Mhm.
And so you've got there's at least 10 more.
I know. That's what I'm screaming.
Oh, that's
yeah,
right.
for
Didn't
sure.
think about that.
There's at
Somewhere,
least 10
yeah,
more.
Yeah, right.
Whether or not they're still living is
Right.
another issue, but
Right.
there's at least 10 more.
I feel like Mulder and Scully should be in this universe. They should just pop out
Oh,
of the woods.
I would, you
If
know.
they show up,
with
that will be the
flashlights.
jump the shark moment.
Well,
of
they were
Stranger
very
Things.
careful. They actually talked. The Duffer Brothers actually talked about casting Sean Astin, and they said that they were very, very careful, and they didn't want to cast him at first because they said that they didn't want him to be distracting.
Oh, because
So
he's like so
they
famous.
didn't want to have that Ed Sheeran Game of Thrones moment.
God, love it.
They
Very
didn't
good.
want to have that moment.
Very
Now
good.
those are my words, not theirs.
Sure.
But they wanted it to be able to focus on the story and focus on the characters and not be, oh, look, it's Sean Astin
He was
in my
Rudy.
favorite show.
Right,
Yeah.
Mr. Frodo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because he is Bob. In the show, he is Bob. I mean,
Yeah.
at first, it's like, oh, Sean Astin, I love him.
He and Bobby's
And then
Bob.
oh,
my
God.
gosh.
Wah, wah, wah.
Thanks, guys.
I'm
Thanks.
kicking you off.
I'm here all
Yep.
night.
And we're done. On that
It's
note.
the third time we've shut this down today.
I think they've all been my fault. Shut
Probably.
down,
But
bruh.
yeah, so those are my thoughts on Stranger Things. I'm giving it a pass for this season because it is a middle episode. Whether it's setting it up for season 3, here's my one major hope, and fingers crossed, everything. I want them to end it
Everybody
when it's
dies.
time.
Yes. Agreed.
I
Oh,
do
yeah.
not want them to drag it out, and I think
Right.
that they will,
I have
because I
heard-
think that they have the integrity to do
Aren't
that.
they only doing 3 seasons? Or did
I don't
make
know.
that up. I may have made
I don't
that up.
know.
I think they
I-
have been picked up for a third one.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
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 That's for
Yeah.
sure.
But I think that they're just kind of seeing where the story goes, and then when the story is over,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to end it,
Okay.
which will also kind of be heartbreaking for their fans. But at the same time, I want them to end it when the story is over.
No doubt. Yeah.
But
for
I
sure.
also want them to answer questions. J.J. Abrams,
Right.
Damon Lindelof.
Right. For sure. JJ, I'm looking at you, buddy.
I want them to answer the questions, and I want what is the upside down? And so they talk about Bill Nye actually makes. I was thinking about you, Brandon, because Bill Nye actually makes an appearance in Beyond Stranger Things to
Oh,
talk
cool.
about the
Cool.
parallel universes, the multiverse.
Oh no, I want to watch that.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
it's
Yeah,
it's
that's
awesome.
cool,
Finish
yeah.
watching Stranger Things, and then watch Beyond Stranger Things. And it actually, if you're just binge watching it, it'll just play automatically
Yeah. Right.
Oh, okay.
Right, for sure.
afterwards.
Yeah.
You can watch it separately, but
Okay.
don't
Yeah, I need
watch
to check it out.
In fact, at the beginning, they're like, "Do not watch this unless you have finished the season." But
So-
he does come on and he talks about the multiverse and all that stuff. So it's fantastic.
So in video games and gaming, there's this there's this phenomenon where in the early stages of the game, there's a little bit of build up and there's this big boss battle that you have to fight.
Right.
And the boss is foreboding and he's overpowered and you just kind of barely escape with your life, right, in this early stage of the game. Later in the game, as your character becomes a little bit more powerful, a little bit more experienced, that boss that you fought that was such a big deal earlier in the game is now a regular enemy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
The phrase that gamers often use is they're regular enemies now, which I think should be the subtitle for Stranger Things Season 2.
They're regular.
They're
enemies now.
regular enemies now, the Demo Dogs. Because man, that
Actually,
Demogorgon
yeah.
dude was the big bad of Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're like little puppies that we're feeding 3
Well,
Musketeers
because now
bars.
you've got the
Well, but they
what
eat
is it
cats,
even
though.
called?
They do eat cats.
They eat and 3 Musketeers bars.
And is a
and
Demodog the
everything.
same as a Demogorgon, or are they in some
I
way
don't
like
know, 'cause the
lesser?
I don't
Demodogs-
think so.
They're
Okay.
shaped the same, but
Right.
the Demodogs are more on all fours.
Right.
Even then.
Sorry, I was thinking of that
Demogorgon.
line that when Steve was like, "How do you know it's not a lizard?"
Oh, yeah.
Dustin's like, "Well, his head opened up and he ate my
Oh,
cat."
yeah.
so-
Yeah, fair point. Yep,
Stranger Things, y'all. It's good.
it's great.
I rant about it because I love it.
Yeah,
Same
well,
with
I mean, because you're
everything
passionate
else.
about it, and I
Right.
rant about it in the opposite about
Right.
from you because I'm also passionate about
Yeah,
it.
dude. Yeah, man.
Please don't hate me, but I don't care enough.
Oh, hey, you know what? But you care about other things, and
Yes.
that's your thing.
I
That's your
mean,
nerd
that's my
factor.
nerd factor.
Oh.
We were just sitting there watching it,
boom.
and Brooke was like, "Is it bad that I just don't care about season 2?" And I was like, "No, I mean, I'm just kind of getting through it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Right.
because I need to."
Right.
But see, right now is that glorious time of year that basketball and football are on at the same time.
Oh, dude.
So that's basically all I'm
Ah.
wanting to
yeah.
do.
Right.
when I'm
Right. You
watching
got to squeeze in
the
your Stranger
television.
Things. Yeah.
Well, so now you don't have to because Bob dies, and that's the most important thing.
I'm so
Pretty much
sad
it.
about that.
Yeah.
And Hopper adopts 11,
Oh,
and it's so sweet.
It's so cute.
And
I do love that whole
It's so
storyline.
I do too.
Yeah.
I
Me
do
Yeah.
too. Oh
Yeah.
my God. There's at the end when she is like she's closing the gate, and there's like the smoke monster or whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
I think it's the Mind Flayer, right?
Mind Flayer. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. Which is a D&D reference.
Totally
And
cool.
because that was another topic I was thinking about talking about today.
D&D.
Was
Oh,
D&D,
you
and I
oughta
was
bring
like,
it up next time.
I might,
sometime,
I
yeah.
might.
I would
We
probably
might have
be
to do
down.
something with it.
That'd be fun.
But
Insta story. Do you want D&D? Do you want April to talk about D&D? Yes, no.
and I actually do play. Now I've been playing for a year now.
Nice.
I have made it through the loss of my first character.
Nice. Oh, that's tough.
R.I.P. Lagartha.
That's so tough.
I'm not cool enough for this.
My barbarian dwarf.
Cool is a very relative term here. I think maybe
She had a
nerdy.
lovely red beard.
Yeah, did she? Okay, dude.
She was basically Gimli with boobs.
If you're talking about D&D next time, I'm going to talk about fantasy football.
Do
Okay,
it.
deal.
Yeah.
Deal.
Hey, those are different
Completely different
sides
fantasy
of the same
worlds.
kind of fantasy,
That's
like
all
nerd.
Yeah.
I can
Right.
Yeah.
participate in with like the role playing.
See,
Well, here, I
I
got
don't
it.
know. I don't understand how fantasy sports work at all, and I would sincerely be interested in
I
hearing
am
you talk about it.
addicted.
Boom.
I don't know what that is.
It's a D20 dice.
Oh, okay.
And it's a very, very
It's
large
all
D20.
boom.
Listeners.
Awesome. What is
Alex,
that?
if you're
April-
listening, do not listen to this part. That's Alex's Christmas ornament this year.
Oh, cool.
Lucas 3D printed it for me.
April just
Sweet.
boomed on the table, and it's a what is this? It's a.
It's a D20.
Is it
It's
a
a 20-sided dice.
Is it called a dodecahedron? Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yes.
Anyway, and Cece
No,
didn't know
no,
what it
no.
was. That's funny.
Hold on.
We gotta look it
I
up.
honestly
I don't
know.
know.
Is a-
I think that has 12 sides. but
Okay.
Let me look.
Oh, no, wait. Dodecahedron, isn't that 13?
I don't know, honestly.
I don't know.
What's
I don't remember
dodec
now.
mean?
Listeners, let us know. Although
Dodeca.
Cece's going to let us know here in a second.
12 sides.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In case I don't.
But this
place
is
I do.
a 20-sided dice. It's about 3 inches across in diameter.
It's big.
And it's pretty awesome.
It's gangsta.
We give the kids Christmas ornaments every year.
Nice. That's a cool tradition.
And Katie, I'm not going to say because I know she does listen. I'm not going to say what hers is, but Alex's, Lucas found one of our coworkers here at the Madison County Public Library in Richmond and Bury, Kentucky. That's 2. 3D printed this for me on a 3D printer that we have here. He found it. He found a
right.
really good pattern and then blew it up, and so it's about 3 inches in diameter and it's a D20. I'm
Right
like,
on.
can you make about 6 more of those?
If
So come
you're
check out our
interested,
3D printers, y'all.
It's
Yeah.
icosahedron.
Icosahedron.
Mhm.
Icosahedron.
I'm
now we
probably
know.
saying that incorrectly, but
Well,
Cool.
not going to be incorporating that into my everyday vocabulary, but
I'm going to
cool.
try. actually.
Icosahedron.
Icosahedric. I like to make things adjectives.
Icosahedric? Okay.
I like to adjectivize. Adjective.
You just shut that word down. Nope.
Yeah, I know exactly where I did the same
It's
thing.
an icosa. Nope.
Nope. Yeah, right. Yeah, you know what? Nope.
You know
Oh, my
what?
Lord.
Nope.
Yep.
So anyway,
Is
so
that our
that's-
Stranger Things thing?
I think that's our Stranger Things
this is
topic.
now
and that would be
minute
my-
40, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever minute this is, what minute is this, Mark?
So
minute 46.
if you're joining us here at minute 46, you didn't want the Stranger Things spoilers. Welcome
Hi,
back.
welcome back.
Sorry, it's a short podcast today for
Have
you.
For
we-
you?
Well, have we talked about the connections between it and the Duffer Brothers?
Big connections.
Stranger
though.
Things,
We
yeah.
will-
etc.
Somewhat, and I don't
Have
think
we
that any.
talked
I
about
don't.
that?
I think
on
we
the podcast?
did
We mentioned
some
it,
because we
but
talked
not-
about it.
Yes.
They originally wanted to direct
They
it.
did.
Right, right,
and
right.
Stranger Things happened because they didn't get to.
That's exactly
yeah,
right. Yeah,
they.
right.
I think that they were not. The company, the production company, didn't want to take enough. Take a chance on them
an unknown.
because they were
yeah.
more unknown.
Mhm.
Well, shoot, they can do whatever
Stranger
they want
Things,
now.
though. So
I don't
that-
think we're gonna try really hard to keep the spoilers out of this part, so
well,
you can
I
listen.
haven't
to this
even
part.
seen all of season 2, so I won't spoil
Yeah.
much. But the scene. So to me, the upside down
Mhm.
and the like sewage
The sewer system,
piping
right?
system.
Uh-huh.
For big parallel.
and
Oh,
dairy
yeah.
are the same thing.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
because you had all the tunnels and everything.
Absolutely,
Oh, sorry,
for
sorry.
sure.
Well, in it when they're lost in the
In the
tunnels
sewers,
back
yeah.
there,
Right.
I was like, oh man, like that's exactly
I
the
drew the
upside
same
down
parallel, yeah.
without the goo and without the
Right.
Yeah,
upside down part.
Right.
and the
right.
monster.
The
There's a
toxic.
monster.
The
There's a
toxic black
monster,
snowflakes. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a
right.
bunch of kids
Yeah.
that are,
No,
know,
There are
Sure.
things floating in the
Lost.
air.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think that
Right.
I don't know if they intentionally did that. Part of me thinks
don't
that it
know.
might have been like an intentional throwback kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's a group of kids.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You
they
know.
do a lot of that, and a lot of what they do is intentional.
There's a
the
ton of Stephen King
very, very
references.
Walking on the train
intentional.
tracks. That's Stand By Me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Apparently, for their auditions, they had the kids read scenes from Stand By Me.
I wouldn't be surprised.
because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the feel that they
That's
were wanting for these
definitely-
kids,
For sure.
and
They-
it's perfect.
They
you can
achieved
use
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely see it.
For sure, for sure, for sure. I finally saw it, by the way, just a few weeks ago.
The movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Bill Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I gotta say, just super quickly, I was. I went in being like, April, you had talked a lot
Right.
about it, and I was like, April, love this movie so much. Primarily, I wanted to go see it because you'd been raving
Okay.
about it. And I always go in guns a-blazing. I always go in being like, it's not gonna live up to the hype. You know what I mean? From the moment Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise showed up on the screen, in the quintessential Georgie with the boat and the red balloon scene, and opened his mouth and spoke. I haven't been that disturbed.
I told you.
From a film since I think like The Ring, like way back in 2003. The Ring messed me up.
I've not seen it.
Messed me
I've
up.
not seen it.
Messed me
You haven't seen
up.
The Ring?
No, I haven't.
Oh
I have so much catch up to do on
you
scary
need to
movies.
watch Rudy and The Ring. They are totally polar opposites.
Complete opposite films, yeah, for sure.
By the
Well,
way,
so
Rudy
that
was
I have
offsides.
I have a book report, movie report for you
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, dude.
You're going to hate Rudy.
Really?
You think so?
Yeah.
I
Because
was
Rudy's so like, I don't know.
He's sweet.
like, feel good,
It is feel
sportsy.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh, I like the water boy. I mean,
You're going to lose your fancy games.
Baba Boucher. Foosball is the devil. Anyway, so it's very good.
Jeez.
yeah, no, I'm so glad that you enjoyed it.
It's very
because,
good. Yeah, it's good.
Because and that you went in
Yeah. And
I
love
need to
what-
see it.
that you were. Have you not seen
You
it?
do.
The new
Not
movie?
the movie.
It's
the film or
great.
like the TV movie I've seen. I
Yeah.
haven't finished the book yet either.
So you've not seen the
The
newest
new one is
version.
really great. Super
Oh, we
great.
should go with you to watch it.
Super
Ah.
great.
Just to watch you watch it.
It's super.
Although I've seen it twice now, and it's so good.
This is me watching a horror film. I'm just like,
Yeah, that'll
Hiding my
be
face.
you. Okay,
Hiding
so
my face.
all right, Brandon, would you agree with me that once the scares really start,
It's
they
intense.
don't stop?
It's really doesn't let
It
up.
is
It's
back
super
to
intense.
back
but if
to
you
back
have a
and
pretty good
nonstop.
knowledge of it, is it still scary?
Yeah.
Because like you know what's
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like
Yeah.
you know.
Is
you
it gross?
know. Not really.
It's not.
Like,
it's not
does it
gory.
show-
It's really not.
Does it show like the arm getting ripped off?
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It
but I
does,
wouldn't
but it's
call it
not like
overly gory.
yeah.
I think it's so good because it's a good balance of kind of like shocking, disturbing
Mhm.
scares.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of gore in there. There's a lot of atmosphere.
There's a lot of atmospheric build
And
up for
here's
these
the
scares,
thing.
and you're like,
Stephen
you
King is
know
so
that the
good.
scare is coming, and
Right.
even though you know it is coming,
Right.
it still gets you.
And
Huh.
even
Yeah.
and so with the saturation you talked about, it comes at you, it comes at you, it comes
Yeah,
at you.
it's relentless
I
once
said
it
to
starts.
myself, well, then it's going to be predictable, and I'm not going to like it.
Nope.
Every set piece is so different and unique and disturbing and like well curated, if I
Yes.
may, that I don't have anything bad to say about this movie.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah, it's really good. I
Yeah.
cannot wait for you to
It
watch
did
it.
I might
not
have
get
to watch
old.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, stop just listening to the book. Just go watch it.
Who directed the new It?
I do not
If you
remember.
hadn't asked me, I could.
Yeah, it's
I don't
somebody,
remember.
yeah.
I know that Brooke will not go see it, so if y'all
Oh,
wanna
okay.
go see
Yeah,
it.
well,
okay.
I'll go.
Shoot,
I'll go.
son.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go see Justice League on Thursday. I'm excited about it.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Anyway,
Who directed it?
Siri.
hey,
I
Siri.
will say if there's anything I've learned about.
oh!
It
She
did
did
it.
it that time.
Did it work?
Yeah. Sorry.
And here I was making fun of you.
Oh,
That's
but-
what I
but-
get.
Hey Siri.
Oh, it only works with my voice, April.
Oh, that stinks.
Hey Siri.
Hey Siri. Ha! I did it.
It said, "Hey Siri, hey Siri."
It recognized my voice.
Who directed It?
I have the answer already, but it's cool.
She doesn't understand what it is.
Well, I've got it right here.
All right.
It's
So
lowercase
Hey
I.
Cece.
yes, Brandon.
Nice.
Andres Muschietti.
Okay. Oh, I felt like I.
Muschietti.
How many more ways can you say that?
Andy.
Muschietti.
I should have read that he's also called Andy.
Okay. Anyway,
I will say I've learned that Dairy Maine is no place to raise a child.
Oh,
Hey.
absolutely not.
ain't no doubt.
Absolutely not. What I love is the references to Dairy Maine in
I
his
know.
other works.
Oh yeah, it's
And
like his,
I
it's
love
his
it.
place.
I love it. All right. Okay. We're done talking about Stranger Things. Maybe. I don't know.
Probably not.
Next topic.
I think we're done. Are we done?
Are we done? What time is
what
it, Mark?
time we at, Mark?
We're at 53 minutes. Oh, my gosh.
We're pretty much.
Wow, that was it.
This is
Yeah.
called the Stranger Things episode.
Things
can we call
in
it
this
Stranger
episode?
Things, please?
Stranger
Things.
Things.
I was going to say, in
Things.
this episode, things get strange.
That's good.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
Stranger
Yeah.
Strange dash er.
That's good.
and spoiled.
And spoiled.
Very
Spoiled
very
rotten.
spoiled. Well,
Spoiled for me anyway.
yeah, that's
Yep.
But again,
You know-
I'm cool with it. I don't hate.
Well, you said
spoilers.
going
It's the same
into
for
this
me,
that you
really.
were.
Yeah.
See, now for me,
Spoilers,
I'm like,
I don't
no.
like. They don't make me mad.
It's the same for me. I'm really okay.
I
Actually,
want to be surprised.
do you?
I mean, I don't like nasty surprises. I don't
Right.
want somebody, jumping out trying to scare me. Unless I'm watching a scary movie, then I know I'm that's why I'm there. Or I go to a haunted house. Brandon, don't.
I'm thinking nasty surprises.
I know you are. I know you are.
Over here.
But now, like gifts and things, I don't want to know. I don't want to spoil it. I want
Nasty
to
I
gifts.
surprise.
hate being
If it's a surprise
surprised.
party, I
hate
want
it.
to be surprised.
Nope.
Hmm.
Don't surprise me. I
Oh,
want to know.
really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when
So
I was a
she's
child.
the one that we should
Yeah,
surprise.
there ain't no doubt, right?
Tread carefully. That's all I gotta say. Like
All
when
right,
I was a child.
Stay out of reaching distance.
Yeah, right.
I
For
will
sure.
teach you from
Yeah.
my working in haunted house days.
Right.
Stay out of reaching distance. If they're able to reach you, you're too close.
Run away.
And it's your own darn fault if you get hit.
And just remember that I can make your professional life difficult.
It's true. It's true. You wield that phenomenal professional power.
You're not my
I am
supervisor.
not your supervisor. You're correct.
Wait, really?
Yeah, she's really not my supervisor.
Not directly.
Not directly, no.
Well, you could still throw some major shade.
Not for you.
What was I going to say, though? Oh, yeah. So when I was a kid, Christmas gifts, I would go look for them.
Oh,
and
yeah?
find them. And my brother would be like, so what is it? And we would go look at them. And
All
we
right.
would have to pretend that we were surprised on Christmas morning.
That's intense.
And finally, my parents figured out what we were doing. And they were so mad at us.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would be too.
Yeah.
We're just like, we just want to know. I mean, like, what's wrong with that?
Oh,
That's
see,
a good-
I
I mean-
like the surprise of nice surprises.
Yeah.
Again, don't jump out of a closet.
You guys,
and
I
scare
like
me, Brandon.
I like nasty surprises. So you just guys
Like nasty
just get as
surprises.
nasty as you can with me this week. You know what I mean? Just like I don't know, slash my tires or something. Surprise!
All right.
Listeners, that is not a challenge.
Surprise! You can't drive. Pay $400.
That's a nasty surprise. There you go.
I'm joking. I like good surprises too.
Good surprise. It's not
I like-
nasty.
Nasty
I
good.
like good nasty good.
Good and nasty.
Good night,
It
everybody.
reminds me of our birthday pranks.
Good night, everybody. Our birthday
The
pranks.
birthday
I
pranks.
know.
We
yeah.
need to prank each other
Those
more.
were the
I thought you said the birthday parades.
days.
I was like,
Yes.
wow. All right.
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, that.
We are
Birthday
Leos.
parade.
You're a Leo. That's true.
No, I am a Virgo.
I always
Virgo's
forget
on
that
the
you're
way.
a
yeah,
Virgo.
Cece and I are both Virgos.
Weird.
Woo!
Well, you guys don't get a birthday parade, but I, a Leo, for sure do.
How does that work out?
Such a Leo thing to say.
Right?
See, precisely, my
God,
dear.
such a Leo thing to
At your
say.
service, darling.
But the Virgos are the ones who truly deserve it, though.
No,
Yeah,
I would
so
agree
it's-
with that for sure. No, Leos don't deserve a parade, not even for a second. But we just demand them. You see.
This is so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The Virgo here doesn't really like parades, so.
I,
this Virgo's like, bring it on. I'll bring my own confetti.
I follow this really great Instagram.
Ticker
all-
tape parade.
Right.
Well, what's the point? Watch people walk by at a slow pace.
Yeah.
Okay, can I before we say goodbye to our listeners? Can
I'm like
Yes.
the least fun person on earth.
That's why we have you here.
I hate parades.
I hate surprises and
I
parades.
don't like parades.
and
Man, what if there was a surprise
And I'll fire
parade?
you and
Show
you
me
scare
my-
me. Except April, because I can.
I'm gonna hire a surprise parade to come through your neighborhood. CC.
Yes, please.
76 trombones at like 5 in the morning.
And you'll look out the window, and it'll just be me and Brandon out there with like a big tape deck out there, and
The
band
CC
instruments playing them really
surprise
badly.
parade.
And then you'll come outside and we'll just throw confetti at you. Here you go.
And then we'll run away.
Bye.
We're also in costume in my fantasy. I
Me
don't
too.
know.
Me
I
too.
hate
I'm
that
in-
too.
We're in costume. Yeah, right. I know. That's
Like old school band uniforms with like
Oh,
the
with
hat
the
with the
big
plume.
plumes.
Yes.
lead the big
As
parade.
long as you wear a mask, because I hate those two.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay, so you wear the band thing, or I can.
Yeah.
And the other one needs to dress as a clown
Totes, my
Yes.
goats. That's it.
with spider legs.
You have to give me
Totes my
time to
goats.
forget about it, though.
Okay, so next year's birthday.
Do you guys want to hear a real quick funny parade story to kind of
Yes,
close?
please.
This is super funny and super brief. 2 parades ago, 2 Christmas parades ago, so 2 years ago, yeah. Our theme here in Madison County was Star Wars. It was
Yes.
Star Wars.
Wait, no, wasn't that last year?
Nope, 2 years.
Legos. The
Oh,
Lego movie
Lego
was
was
last
last
year.
year.
Yeah,
Oh,
2
yeah.
years with Star Wars.
Wars.
So So I predictably have a Jedi costume that I wear regularly a few times a year, and they asked me if I'd be on
Every
the
night.
float, right? Every night before bed. To bed, actually.
bed.
I hug my lightsaber soundly, and
Triple.
Anyway, it's true. So I was happy to do it. So I dressed up and I had my hair down. And for those of you listeners who don't know what I look like, I have long hair and a beard. Yeah. And so,
I know where you're going with this.
well, being that it was a Christmas parade,
I just caught on.
people in the crowd, especially children, are pointing me out. Hey, mommy, look, there's Jesus. Many, many times.
I tell you what, I love Jesus in Star Wars.
I know, right? Well, I had a lightsaber.
Jesus was incredible in Star Wars.
Maybe you could draw.
Thank you, Cece. Because I'm like, listen, the float had like Star Wars music blaring. There was a dude dressed up as Chewbacca
It
standing
looked
beside
like the
me.
front of the Millennium
Like, who
Falcon.
did they think that was? Judas Baca? Like, what did
One scene where Jesus and Han have that fight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jesus shot first.
Oh my god.
You know?
That's not accurate.
That's absolutely
not
not
accurate.
accurate. He was acting in self-defense.
That is so funny. But on the line of Christmas parades, a couple years ago we did a Frozen float, and I dressed as
Jesus.
no. Yes,
I'm killed.
I was Jesus Anna,
I'm ruined.
Princess Jesus Anna. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
my
even know how
mercy.
to tie that in. But I was.
Remember when Jesus sang "Let It Go"? Frozen.
I believe that's a
The
commandment.
Romans never bothered me anyway.
No, I'm pretty sure they did a lot.
That's not accurate.
Mark has died, by the way, guys.
Well,
I
everyone.
heard Mark snicker back there.
Yeah. No, he had his hands over his face, like back in the chair, dying.
I'd just like to take this opportunity to say that this is a very lighthearted conversation, and it
Oh
it-
yes.
Oh,
it comes
yes,
with-
yes,
it comes with
absolutely.
I
This is
do
not
look a little
making
bit
fun.
like modern depictions of Jesus.
You
when
really do.
When my hair
Except
is
your
down.
eyes are brown.
It's okay. Oh well. So that's fine and awesome, and I was also a Jedi that night.
Yeah.
There you
well,
go.
But,
Jedi
but I mean,
Jesus.
but
That
what
was
I gonna
Jedi
say, though,
Jesus.
Is how I mean, yes, you were mistaken for Jesus, but I don't know if you had this. But when I was on the float and I was
Mistaken for
now,
Jesus.
granted, I was not mistaken for any other character other than the one that I was dressed as. I was dressed as Princess Anna from Let It Go.
April, it's the beard.
I know.
definitely
It's
the
Throws him
weird.
off every
I know,
time.
For sure,
I know.
for sure, for sure.
You guys, I gotta shave again, man.
The sandals you always wear.
I know, because I could totally see my
Your
feet.
long red hair.
Yeah, my long red hair. Very obvious feminine features.
all the
Right.
Yeah.
miracles that follow around you
Yes,
each
yes.
day.
My body structure.
Ah,
Yes.
ah.
Very, very
It's very messianic.
messianic.
Messianic. Oh no, is that really the?
That is actually the word, yes.
I hate my life.
Now I'm killed.
And now see, Mark is crying.
Over jokes in my head.
Mark is crying. but anyway, what I'm trying to say with all of this is that
I think I need to leave.
when all of the kids were looking up and going, Princess Anna, or Elsa, or they would get our attention and they would wave at us, and then we would wave back at them, and they were like, Princess Anna waved at me.
That's so cute.
And it was just, it made my night. It actually made like my Christmas.
Well, I guess parades are a good thing.
They know not what they
Yeah.
do, April.
Oh my gosh.
They were excited to see you. That's all I mean.
And on that note, I think we're done.
All right.
Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Jedi.
Okay,
What do you guys think?
Okay. Oh my God, that's great.
Again, we're having a lighthearted conversation.
Yes,
This is
yes.
no.
Listen, if you can't laugh at yourself,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just being
Lighten
silly,
up.
just being silly.
Lighten
Right,
up.
It's a real thing that happened.
All right. Talk to you later, guys.
Yeah,
I
okay.
almost said love you mean it, but that's your thing. So I almost.
You
that's
do
all right.
say that,
Yeah,
don't you?
I love
I've
it
said
though.
it fast a couple times.
All my love, Brandon.
I think it's great.
Love always.
Yeah,
No,
yours is
you
love
always
always.
sign things warmly.
I d-
Well, yeah. oh,
Brandon,
yes.
Brandon will send me stats.
All right, I'm taking
and
love
say
always,
warmly,
and you can
Brandon.
say warmly,
it's because I mean it's because I have
and you
warmth.
can say love you mean it.
I have
there we go.
warmth in my heart. Warmly, Brandon. Love you guys. Mean it.
You just stole everything.
You can't say.
All right, I'll just stick with bye.
I'm gonna say love you mean it.
Han
How
shot
about
first.
that?
That's gonna be my
Bye.
sign off from now on.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.